Just so you know, this is an older movie, so there will be spoilers.
Hello everyone, I'm Tyler and welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be talking about Friday the 13th Part 2. First of all, with this movie, the opening, we have Alice returning, which instantly positive, boom. I love when characters return, especially Alice, because personally, I thought she was fierce in the first movie, but like, apparently a lot of people don't actually like her. They actually don't think that she's a very good final girl. I'm pretty sure I talked about that in my review for the first film, but I think she was great. But she returns in the second film. I mean, she doesn't really do a lot. Her entire scene is improv. According to her, the entire scene is improv. She didn't have a script or anything. So they just told her to walk around and just, I don't know, say random stuff, I guess. Talk on the phone to nobody. Just make something up. And I think she did a fairly good job. Her art, by the way, not nearly as good as it was in the first film. I mean, her drawings went from like college student majoring in art to 5th grader. She opens the fridge and boom, there's the head. Which, by the way, is a nice surprise. Head in a fridge, I mean, we've been there. Her death scene's pretty great. She got injured filming her death scene, so, props to her. Alice is great. I don't know why people dislike her. So now we get introduced to our new characters, or at least 2 of our new characters. So Jeff and Sandra are walking to, well, I guess they're on their way to the camp, but they don't know where they're going. Go into this random telephone booth and call someone. While they're doing that, though, their truck gets towed, which this part was kind of funny. I mean, the dude, Jeff, just completely freaks out and curses the tow truck driver out. I mean, that part's pretty enjoyable. But yeah, Jeff and Sandra, their acting is not great in this film. I mean, they're okay for what they need to do, but like... So then from there, we meet Ted.
Welcome to God's country.
But yeah, he's an interesting character. We hear a joke about a bear wiping its ass with a rabbit. That part's pretty enjoyable. And yeah, Sandra is interested in Camp Blood as well. But then we get to the camp and we finally meet the rest of our characters. We get to meet Scott, who is obsessed with Terry's ass. Mark, who's in a wheelchair. Mark is probably my favorite character in this film besides Ginny. And then Vicky, who is honestly just, she's a dumb hoe, let's be real. And then, of course, we get the return of Crazy Ralph.
I told the others. They didn't believe me. You're all doomed. You're all doomed.
Crazy Ralph in the first film is pretty iconic. He's like a classic staple, or he became a classic staple in horror films. He's the warning guy, Crazy Ralph is back, which I love. We finally get introduced to Paul and Ginny.
Just like kids. Use a little of that child psychology you're majoring in.
It's more fun using that child psychology on you. You're such a sucker, Lauren.
I wish we got to see Paul die in this movie. We meet Ginny, who is probably the best final girl in these movies. I mean, it's up for debate between her and... What is Tommy Jarvis's sister's name? Is it Chris?
3 days later.
Trish. Why did I blank there? Trish. Oh my god. It's probably a tie between her and Trish. This whole cast, I do enjoy watching them better than the cast in the first film. Sorry, Kevin Bacon. But, I mean, I like them better. I think they're funnier to watch. They're more enjoyable to watch. I find them more entertaining. It's as simple as that. Their acting isn't better, but they're just more enjoyable characters. And another positive about this film, besides the characters in our cast, is of course Harry Manfredini returning to do the score. The score of Friday the 13th is like, I mean, how can you forget it? It's amazing. I mean, and honestly, in the second film, I feel like it's not that different. It's pretty much, I feel like it's almost the same score. I love his score. I mean, I could listen to just his score. Friday the 13th movies, they have so much replay value. Like, and 50% of that is because of the score. These movies are probably, I've probably put on as background noise the most out of any movies in my entire life because of the score. Then we have the practical effects, which amazingly, we just got the uncut footage for part 2 on the Shout Factory box set, which I have right there. I mean, the uncut footage is amazing. I really wish it came with sound and, you know, was in better condition so that way it could have been put back into the movie and we could have had an uncut version of the film. I think that would have been amazing. The practical effects in this one are pretty good. We have the sex kebab kill. That kill is iconic. I mean, 2 people having sex and then boom, speared, you're a kebab. And then we have the wheelchair kill. I mean, this is also an iconic kill that so many people talk about from this movie. Even though the blade goes into his face backwards. Now the writing for this film, I feel like this whole film, just like the opening scene with Alice, was just improv. I mean, there's really no story here. It's pretty much just 5 years later. They're opening a camp, but it's on the same ground as the first one. But it's on the same lake as the first one. The first camp is somehow gone, and all that's left are the scraps that Jason has put together to make his own little hut, which also amazing, positive. The middle of this movie, like I was saying, it's kind of like improv. I mean, but I love the third act of this film. The third act is like, I mean, the fact that Jason has a shrine of his mother, but not is it just a shrine, his mother's head is there. But the weird thing to me is that only her head is there, like her head and then her sweater and her pants are there. Like, how did Jason only get her clothes and not her body? But you know what I mean? It's like a Norman Bates kind of psycho moment. You know, where he just loves his mother so much and is obsessed with his mother so much that he needs to keep her head on a table with a bunch of candles and the corpse of the girl who killed his mother just laying there rotting away. So here's where we start to get into my negatives. Starting with the return of Jason, the return of Jason. I mean, it really makes no sense. So when he saw his mother at camp killing people or fighting this girl before she gets her head chopped off, does he not think to like, oh, that's my mom, I should go say hi to her, I should go to her? He just thinks, you know what, I'm just gonna keep chilling in the woods, eating dogs, eating bugs, I'm good. This movie raises more questions than it answers. It really creates a lot of questions. So like Jason being a grown man, okay, great. But why, I mean, he's clumsy. He is so clumsy. Which I guess this is the first film we're seeing him in. So he needs some practice, you know, he needs experience. It just doesn't do it for me. I don't know if, you know, Ginny kicking Jason in the balls and then Jason falling over. Oh! That just, I don't know if that's like the best I've seen, you know? Jason in this film just isn't my favorite, you know? The sack head is unoriginal. The sack head isn't enough. It's just not it. The Town That Dreaded Sundown did it first. If someone's already done it, don't do it. Just as simple as that. The camp from the first film, you know, so our characters, Jeff and Sandra. Sandra is she's this curious little hoe with her breasts all the way out, and she just wants to see this Camp Blood.
Oh, come on, you chicken shit.
And so she convinces Jeff to go to the camp, and then they go to the camp, and they see nothing. I mean, nothing. Not even like a clearing in the woods. It's just trees everywhere. It's been 5 years, okay? I want to see some broken down old ass camp fucking cabins. I want to see, and like if they're not going to be any cabins, at least have this bald spot in the woods where the cabins would have been. It just doesn't make sense. It leaves me wondering, well, where are the other cabins? Like, I'm just asking myself a lot of questions during this movie. The middle of the film, you know, after we get introduced to our characters and we're just kind of spending time with them and going along, I believe it gets kind of slow. We get a few good kills, but a few of them are also off-screen or cutaways or just something lame and unentertaining. They do try to add the story of Jason, you know, with Ginny at the bar, with Paul and Ted, and I do enjoy that scene actually quite a bit because I enjoy Ginny's sympathy for Jason. I think Ginny's sympathy for Jason in that scene is quite relatable, and it helps me connect with her character quite a bit. But that's really the only somewhat explanation we get of Jason. I guess that could be the reason why we relate to Ginny so much. Now, we also have direction from Steve Miner, who also directs part 3 as well as Halloween H2O. But his direction in this film, I believe this is his directorial debut, which is, it's great for a directorial debut, but it's not perfect, you know? His direction is pretty iffy sometimes. The one scene I cannot stand to watch is when Vicky is getting killed and she just finds Sandra and Jeff, and you know, after they've been sex kebabbed. And the camera just like stays on her for the longest time, and she just screams the entire time. And Jason's just slowly walking towards her. Like, by the time Jason gets to her, she could have already been out the house. She already could have been out the house, down the stairs, out the front door. Goodbye, see ya, good day, not today, Satan. But instead, she just stands there and screams. And because it takes so long for Jason to get to her, like, it drags, okay? There are a lot of, you know, segments and parts of this film that are really great and I enjoy a lot. But there's a lot of questions in my head when I'm done watching it. But then at the end, we get the Betsy Palmer cameo, which, you know, makes watching this movie to the end worth it. Besides seeing, you know, her head decaying on an altar. But yeah, that's Friday the 13th Part 2. I really enjoyed this film. I believe I rated it a 7.5 out of 10. That's probably too high for this film. If you disagree, let me know in the comments. But personally, I like this film a lot and I watch it all the time. And, you know, this film is a classic and it's better than the first one. So that automatically bumps its score up. Yeah, guys, that's going to be it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you get notified next time I post a video. And yeah, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.